Hey, good afternoon, everyone. How you doing? The sun is shining here in the sunny East Midlands, but it was raining about 5 seconds ago. So let's just take what we have today. It's one of those weather days, isn't it? So if you made it this far onto your mat, fantastic news. It's great. And if you're doing this class on catch up, then what an amazing resource the Virtual Village Hall is. And remember, they've got this survey out at the moment, and they're shaping the service as we move forward together. So take part in that survey. You'll find it on the Facebook page. And it's a really nice thing that you get to shape the service. You get to kind of request the activities and the classes that feel good for you and that kind of resonate for you and fit in with your lifestyle. Do that. But well done for making it to yoga. And a lot of people think about yoga as being a specific thing, don't they? They're like, oh, I don't want to do yoga. I don't want to do that thing because it's all about flexibility and I'm not very flexible. And it's probably got very little to do with flexibility. Yeah, sure. Flexibility is going to help. If you are stiff as a board, you're going to find the practice a little bit harder. But hey, it still doesn't mean that you shouldn't start a practice. When I first started doing yoga, I've been running for 20 years and I was stiff as a board. My body was so tight. And I was getting into, I was in my 40s and I was thinking, wow, how am I going to live the next, 20 years of my life if my body is this tight? So that was one thing that got me into yoga. I want to have flexible hamstrings, my back needs to feel better than it was. But I found that yoga was much more than that. So, the bit that keeps us away from it, which is probably I'm not flexible enough, or I don't have the right body, or I'm not strong enough, or my mind is too active. They're the things that should be bringing us in, and it happens on all of these amazing different levels that, we're not just working the body physically. We're not just stretching the body. We're engaging the body. We're thinking about movement, in general. And it doesn't mean we have to be like a ballet dancer and have this amazing kind of like awareness of how our body moves, but we're just expressing ourselves in this really personal and beautiful way. So what I like to say to people is, do not worry about what your pose looks like. It's about what it feels like. And as long as you're not hurting yourself, you're doing the right thing. So you meet yourself on your mat as you are today with love and with compassion and respect. And you try and get away from this, that it has to be something or it has to feel a certain way. Because these are just constructs of the mind. And we go crazy thinking about it. So there's two Sanskrit words which I really like to come back to. And it's abhyasa and vairagya, abhyasa. And it just means release the outcome, release the outcome. It doesn't matter. You're not trying to get anywhere. You're just getting on your mat and you're practicing. And the other just means, regular, steady practice. Regular, steady practice, release the outcome. We're going to get where we need to be bit by bit. And we go backwards and forwards with our practice like we do in our lives. But it's there for us. It's a tool that we can come back to, whatever's going on in our lives. If we're having these joyous moments or we're having a really hard time in life, come back to your yoga practice because it serves you so well. That was a public announcement broadcast on yoga. All right. So that's just what I thought I'd say today. Sometimes it just comes out of my mouth, but I'm really passionate about yoga. And that's from a middle-aged man who hadn't done any yoga before, who had no idea what yoga was about, really. I was just a little bit curious. And luckily, by the grace of God, I stepped into a class. And it served me so well for only the 6 or 7 years that I've been practicing so far. I think it's 6 years. That's it. I haven't been practicing long. I've not been on my mat for 20 years, 6 years. And I've seen tremendous ways that it has helped me throughout my life. Okay. All right. So we're going to do some physical yoga. And physical yoga is called asana. The asana is the kind of the postures that we come into. So we're going to do a fair amount of those today. But we'll start with some pranayama. And pranayama is just breath control, breath exercises, and we can use the breath for lots of different things. If we need to calm down, if we need to bring the energy up. So we're going to have a look at that today. So if you're not already on your mat, come onto your mat. I'm going to shuffle back onto my mat now. And remember this first part, you can do it just by sitting against a wall, or if you've got a chair, I'm pointing to a chair that you can't see, but if you do have a nice mustard chair like I've got here, you can sit in your chair. So let's do that. I think I'm going to keep my hat on today. I'm in a bit of a hat phase at the moment. I've just come back from the Peak District and it was very cold and wet and windy. So it's kind of nice to be back, but it's not, if you know what I mean. All right, back to the urban sprawl. So let's do this. Rub your hands together at heart center. So I'm sat here in easy pose, but if you're sat in a chair up against the wall, I encourage you just to sit any way that you want to sit. Rubbing the hands together here, creating a little bit of heat in between the palms. Rub them a little bit more vigorously. We're going to do this for 20 minutes, Dave? No, we're not. You're going to place the hands over the closed eyes. So close the eyes, but only if it feels comfortable to close the eyes. And then open your eyes. Just blink the eyes open. And then rotate the eyeballs just a couple of times in one direction, a couple of times in the other direction. Bring your left hand on your heart, your right hand on your left hand, and sit nice and tall here. So roll your shoulders back. So you're not sat here, you know, where you're slumped over and the shoulders are rounded. You've got intention in the spine. So the spine is nice and long. I'll show you from the side. You know, this is how I'm sat. I don't want to be sat like this. I want to kind of bring that length through the spine. My heart center opens. It gives me loads of room to breathe into. And then again, maybe just reclose the eyes and appreciate yourself fully here. And as we do this, just begin to connect into your breath. So notice your breath, notice how it feels. And maybe just begin to deepen your breath just a little bit. So nice, deep, rich inhales. Full exhales. In and out through the nose if you can. One more like that. Nice, deep inhale through the nose. Full exhale through the nose. Let's do one more. Nice deep inhale through the nose. Full exhale through the mouth. Just sigh out, make a noise. And then if your eyes are closed, just come with your eyes open. Then you can release this little hand position at heart center. And then just thinking about the breathing. Try not to stress too much about breathing as we go through the class, but in and out through the nose if you can. You might find that the nose runs a little bit. You might feel a little bit snotty. Just have like a tissue near you so you can blow your nose if you need to do that. If your nose is blocked, if you've got anything going on with the nose that doesn't feel good, you can use the mouth. But if we use the nose, we can really begin to draw the breath long and smooth, deep and even, and it's so nourishing for the body. Okay, so from here, if you're on a chair or up against the wall, come onto your mat. You don't even need a mat, just come onto the floor. Separate your legs, bring the other shin in front, bring your hands onto your knees, and then we'll just start with this little circling movement. Inhale the chest forward, exhale round your spine. Inhale forward, exhale, come back. So you might, you know, for the first few, you might just sit here and you sit really tall and you just begin to rotate your torso around your hips. So you're not moving too much. Let's all start like this. You know, feel what it feels like in the lower spine. Think about your belly. Think about your navel center. So there's that idea in yoga that all yoga starts from the navel center. Breathe nice and deeply here. Deep, rich inhales. Full releasing exhales. Nice. Inhale as you come forward. Exhale as you come back. And then maybe you feel like everything's beginning to warm up and you're working out what's going on in the physical body. Now you can make them a little bit bigger, the circles. You can slow it right down, bend into the arms. But think about my hands, they're on my knees, but they're not really doing anything. They're just resting. And I'm driving this movement from my belly button, basically. Nice. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Just keep this movement going. And then make the circles just a little bit smaller. And then come all the way back to center. When you're at center, nice deep inhale. And then your fullest exhale. Nice. Just going to adjust my microphone. We're going to come back the other way. So when you're ready, just begin to circle the torso in the opposite direction. So if you forget, I always go right side first and then I go left side. Then I can remember. So maybe just start small. Maybe you're up here, inhaling and exhaling. Just keep the breath moving. And think about your face. Think about your jaw. These are nice, simple movements, but make sure you're not tensing up anywhere. And there's this tendency where we start to move the body and we start to tense a little bit within it. So nice, gentle rotations of the hips. And then maybe begin to make the circles a little bit bigger. Make this pose your own. Don't think it's got to look a certain way. If the back feels tight, if the back feels a little bit sore, I encourage you to be very, very, very cautious. There's that idea in yoga that there ain't no rules in yoga, but the only rule there is really is that you don't hurt yourself, you don't injure yourself. So that's all about treating your body with respect and trying to not push it. See where you are today. Regular, steady practice, the body's going to open, it's going to change, it's going to strengthen. You're going to find all of these things a lot more familiar and they will serve you well. Nice. Again, just begin to make the circles a little bit smaller. Nice, everyone. And then come all the way back to center. When you're here, nice deep inhale. Full exhale through the nose. Maybe with the eyes closed, a nice deep inhale. Full exhale through the mouth. One more like that. Deep inhale. Full exhale. Beautiful. Nice. Do this again. Press the fingers down into your floor, down into your mat, uncross the legs. Bring the other shin in front. And when you do that, if you need to wriggle around, if you need to kind of lift the hips up, need to move the arms around a little bit, feel free to do that. The worst thing in the world is to sit here at the start where we're sat for quite long periods of time and we get uncomfortable. If you need to bring the hips up a little bit, put a blanket under the hips, sit on a block or a book or something like that. Okay, so let's do this. So the fingertips are going to be down into the floor. You're going to inhale the arms up. You're going to exhale the arms down. Inhale the arms up. Fingertips touch. Exhale the arms down. So if I was looking at you, I'd see the length of your breath. So inhale. Exhale. So we're just beginning to move the body with breath and matching that breath with these beautiful movements. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Nice. 4 more times. And maybe you're matching my movement, or maybe your breath is longer, maybe your breath is shorter. I think I've got 2 more to go. Inhaling up and exhaling down. Beautiful, nice. This time, inhale the arms up. As you exhale, bring the hands through heart center, just to prayer position at the heart. This is Anjali Mudra. Mudra is just a hand position. So we just hold it at the heart center. 3 more. Inhale up. Exhale down. Inhale up. Exhale down. Final one. Inhale up. And exhale and bring the hands down. Beautiful. Bring the hands back, fingertips pressing into your mat. Now bring the legs out. Bring them out in front and then just give them a little shake out. So just lengthen them. Have a little move around, maybe through the ankles, maybe just dropping the ankles from side to side. You can always bend into the knees, plant the soles of the feet on the floor, and then just drop the knees from side to side. This can feel good. So I just encourage you, anything that feels good, do it. So this is just dropping the knees from side to side, dropping the knees down to the right, coming to center, dropping the knees down to the left. A little bit of movement in the hips, because we're going to come back to that seated position where we're going to spend a lot of time here today. So come back to center. See if you can remember which shin was in front, and then just bring that shin, the other shin in front. All right, so a twist. Twists are really good for digestion, really good for calming the central nervous system, but physically very good for us. So let's do it this way. Inhale the arms straight up into the air. And as you exhale, bring your left hand onto your left knee, or inside the left hand on the right knee. So let's do it again. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, left hand, right knee, or inside the right thigh, just pushing the thigh open. Right hand behind, take a nice deep inhale here. So you can already see my spine has been lengthened, and then as you exhale, twist over to the right. So that's the movement. Nice deep inhale. Full exhale. Two more like that. Your deepest inhale. Your fullest exhale. And then one more. Deep inhale. And a full exhale. Nice. Inhale, come all the way back to center, sweep the arms up, and then the other side. So right hand, left knee, or inside the left thigh, left hand behind. Inhale, find that length before you twist. Exhale into your twist. Nice deep inhale. Full exhale. Your deepest inhale. And your fullest exhale. One more like that. Nice deep inhale. And then your fullest exhale. Beautiful. Come all the way back to center. Sweep the arms back up. And then as you exhale, just bring the hands down just in front of you. So you can stay up nice and high. Spread out through your fingers. And try and keep length in the spine here. So I'll show you from the side. So what I'm not doing is just rounding into my spine. You see my spine remains nice and long. I'm just tilting my pelvis forward. And then my gaze just comes down, maybe in between my hands. And then do this, just rock from side to side. Little movements here. Any huge amount going on, but you just slowly beginning to bring this breath and these nice simple movements into the body. Be curious. Yeah, be curious. What's going on for you today? Walk the hands back towards your feet. Nice. Bring the hands behind. Bring the feet out again. And then this time, stack the feet so they're kind of hip width apart. You might need to do this and you just bring the sit bones forward a little bit. Nice. See my fingers, they're pointing forward and they're stacked underneath my shoulders. Press into all four corners of the feet. Take an inhale. Just raise your hips off the floor. So you might come here. This might be enough. Or you might come all the way up here. And then exhale. Bring the hips back down. So now the sit bones are on the floor. 3 more times. Press into all four corners of the feet. Inhale up. Exhale down. Nice and slowly. Inhale up. Maybe drop the head back if the neck feels okay. Exhale down. And then one more time. Inhale up. And exhale down. Beautiful. Nice. One more thing that we'll do here, sat, and then we'll move a little bit more. So I just would like us all to move into the neck a little bit because we hold so much tension and we hold so much in our shoulders and in our jaw. So we're just going to do this simple thing. Remember which way you're going because you're going to swap. Maybe just begin to rotate the head in one direction. I'm going right to left. Maybe start really small. Think about your jaw. Think about your breath. Inhaling as you lift the head. Exhaling as the head comes down. Inhaling up. Exhaling down. Jaw is super relaxed. Tongue is nice and loose in the mouth. And then make these movements a little bit smaller. And then come back to center and then just swap it out. So now begin to rotate the head in the opposite direction. Beautiful, nice. Maybe make them a little bit bigger. But these movements, it's not about speed and it's not about depth. It's just about feeling. It's about noticing what's going on for you. It's about paying attention. That's why we think about our yoga practice. It's all about paying attention. If you find the mind is very active and it wanders, or you become a bit distracted or even bored, just bring it back to the breath. Bring the mind back to the breath. Keep breathing, keep moving. Find your presence. Try not to future trip. Be right here, right now. One more deep inhale. Full exhale, and then bring the head all the way back to center. Then if you had your eyes closed like me, maybe a little scratch, and then you can open your eyes. Scratching's good, isn't it? All right, nice. Okay, let's come on to all fours. A little bit of movement through the spine, so we usually do this. But before we do it, stretch first your right foot back. Press into your toes, spread out through your fingers. Have a look at your fingers. So your fingers, your wrists are stacked right underneath your shoulders. And then just swap it out. Nice. And then just do that one more time on each leg. Pressing into the toes, feeling that activation through the calf all the way up into the hips. And then spread out through the fingers, stack your knees right underneath your hips. Inhale, drop the belly down, lift your head and your heart. As you exhale, round your spine. So let's just carry on like that. Inhale forward, exhale round. Inhale forward, exhale round. Inhale forward, exhale round. One more like that. Inhale, come forward, and exhale round. And then a nice deep inhale, come all the way back to center. And then see if you can just sit back onto your heels. So for some people, this is really uncomfortable. If it does feel a little bit uncomfortable, then you can always place a blanket underneath your heels, or you can just sit in easy pose. It's a good opportunity for me to tuck my t-shirt in. That means we're going to get physical. Not really. Bring the hands so the palms are face up. Maybe have a little wriggle around. Just notice how that feels. But think about your spine again. Remember, you're not sat like this. This is how you're sat. It's all about that posture. You learn so much of these with April in Pilates as well. You know, this posture. And then, you know, there's other classes, isn't there, that we do on Virtual Village Hall, which is about posture and alignment. It's really important. But we shouldn't get fixated by it, you know. Don't get fixated by this stuff. You just do what you can do. Nice. All right. Bring the hands back forward. Give your feet a tap out. So just tap the tops of your feet out. Nice. Then press into the toes. And then lift the feet. And then just give the ankles a little rotate. Waggle them around a little bit. Beautiful. Nice. And then from here, we're going to make it a little bit more physical. But we'll start nice and slow. So step one foot back. Step the other foot back. And then come into your plank position. And then drop your knees. So let's think about our plank. So we look at these postures, don't we, from time to time. We've looked at Tadasana, that was last week. And we looked at downward facing dog as well. Let's have a look at plank. So this is low plank. So this is with the knees down. This is high plank. This is with the knees up. It's quite physical. What you see a lot is people do this, and they're kind of in between a plank and a downward facing dog. Because lifting the hips up, that's a lot easier. I could hang out here for a long time. But when we engage into the legs and keep the hips nice and low, but not low like this, as in everything's in a straight line, this is harder. So you have to tuck the belly in, engage into the glutes, engage into the legs, the thighs, right into the toes. And this is our plank. So should we do all that together? Maybe we were all doing that together. You're thinking, you're talking a lot, and I'm in plank. Okay, so let's do 5 breaths. So remember, you've got an option. You can be here with the knees back, and you're in this low plank, or you can tuck the toes, lift the knees, and then let's breathe here for 5 breaths together. Deep inhale, full exhale, deep inhale, full exhale. Number 3, deep inhale, full exhale. 2 more, deep inhale, full exhale. You can do it. 1 more, deep inhale and a full exhale. Then everybody drop the knees. Keep your elbows tucked by your body. See if you can lower all the way down just by bending into your elbows. So you come all the way down onto your belly. Make a pillow just out in front of you, and then just bring the head to the right, and then just chill here for a little bit. Just feel the weight of the body just melting down into the floor. Relax here completely. And then bring the head back to center and then just look over to the left just to balance everything out. Nice. And then the forehead all the way back. And then restack the hands underneath the shoulders. Spread out through the fingers. Really nice habit to get into. So my elbows aren't out here wide. They're tucked right in. Bring in your engagement into your toes. Press yourself back to this all fours position. And then what we'll do from here is we'll tuck the toes under and we'll come into our downward facing dog. So remember in our down dog, we talked about the length in the spine. So remember, you know, when I lengthen my legs, see how my spine bows? And then I've got too much tension in my shoulders. I'll bend my knees and then I can really find that length in my spine. Nice deep inhales. Full exhales. Deep inhale. Full exhale. And then one more like that. Your deepest inhale. And then your fullest exhale. Beautiful. From here, walk your hands back all the way towards your feet. And then just hang in a standing forward fold here. So you might just grab hold of opposite elbows and then maybe just sway around. But again, you might have a generous bend in the knees just to release any tension here. You don't want tension in your lower back. And then just fold in as low as feels good for you. Maybe bring the weight into the toes. Breathe nice and deeply. And then release the hands down. Nice generous bend in the knees. Go really deep. Press into your feet. Roll all the way up. Come up to stand. And then we find ourselves standing for the first time. So we'll do 2 rounds of sun salutation A. And then we're going to get into this little balancing sequence. Because we've worked on balance in the last few weeks. So it's a really nice thing to get into. So finding yourself in Tadasana, remember your feet want to be lined up with the long edges of your mat. They can be together, they can be a little bit wider. Bring your hands to heart center, press into the palm of your hands. Be curious about how this feels. And Jali Mudra, take an inhale, sweep the arms up, come up into this nice stretch position. As you exhale, come down, flat back, fold all the way in. Nice. Take an inhale, lengthen your spine, come up halfway. So I come up nice and high. You might be lower, you might be high. You can bring the hands all the way up here. Whatever feels good for you. Knees is good for me, and I bring them onto the side of my knees. As you exhale, flatten the palms, step one foot back, step the other foot back, and then take an inhale, and we're back into this plank position. Remember, you can drop the knees if you need to. As you exhale, lower all the way to the floor. Knees are dropped, or you just come down in one piece. In the beautiful sun, take an inhale, and then come into your cobra. And then as you exhale, tuck your toes under, slowly lift your hips, come into downward facing dog. Nice. 3 breaths here. Deep inhale. Full exhale. Your deepest inhale. And your fullest exhale. One more like that. Deep inhale. And your fullest exhale. So we've done this loads of times before. Bend into your knees, hinge the hips up between your hands, and either just step the feet up in 2 or 3 steps, or first step your right, and then your left to the top of your mat. Take an inhale to find length, come up halfway. Exhale, fold in low. Press into your feet. Inhale, come all the way up. And then exhale, frame your hands at heart center. One more like that. Inhale up. Exhale, fold. Inhale, find length, come up halfway. Exhale, hands down. Step 1 foot back, step the other foot back. Inhale to find some length here. Exhale to lower. Remember, drop the knees or come down like I am. Inhale, cobra. You can keep it bending the elbows, or you can come up with straight arms, but just be careful with the back. And then exhale back into your downward facing dog, where we take 3 breaths. Deep inhale. Full exhale. Your deepest inhale. Your fullest exhale. And then one more. Deep inhale. And a full exhale. Beautiful. Nice. Bend the knees into the hips up between the hands, and then gently just propel yourself any way that feels good up to the top of your mat. Inhale to find some length. Come up halfway. Exhale, folding nice and low, and then press into your feet. Inhale, come all the way up. And exhale, you're bringing your hands back to heart center. Beautiful, really nice. And then you can just bring your hands down, and you can step yourself into the middle of the mat. That's a really nice sequence. So remember your sun salutations, they're there for you. There's lots of variations, but they're really beautiful, and you can make them up. I always say that, you know, people say, oh, I don't do sun salutations at home, I can never remember them. Just make a sequence up yourself. So what we're going to do now, we're going to work on balancing again. We've been doing this the last few weeks, and it's just nice. You see what your progression is. Remember when I talked about balancing? Remember, you can brush your teeth. This is a good way to learn how to balance, you know. Or what's the other way? Or we talked about putting socks on. Instead of sitting down and doing it, if your back feels okay in the morning, put your socks on just by standing up. But remember, your gaze is important. So it's called a dristi, and we think about gazing in one spot. So some people keep it nice and laser focused, and they just stare at one thing, maybe on the wall, the skirting board, wherever it is, maybe out in front. But I always think looking down is a little bit easier. Or you keep a kind of like a more of a soft gaze in one area. But the gaze is going to be important, because if the eyes start moving around everywhere and the head starts moving, you're distracted and you'll probably fall out of the pose. But remember, in balances, you're not supposed to be really static, because you engage the muscles too much there and you can injure yourself. So a little bit of movement is very natural. So tree pose is where we're going to go. Then what we're going to do is we're going to come into kind of like a seated or a one-legged pigeon. Sounds complicated. Then we're going to come into warrior three. Remember, warrior three is this. So warrior three, arms out, and then the leg is up here. So this is warrior three, okay? So sounds hard, doesn't it? And if we fall out, we're just going to come back in. It's not hard. It's just challenging. Challenge is good. So we're going to use the right leg first of all. Left leg's nice and strong, spread out through the left toes. So remember, in your pigeon, you've got this, or you can bring the foot right up into the thigh. But do not do this where you're pushing into the knee joint. So this is the easiest place to put it. You can be like this, well, you know, chill out all day, but you're going to injure your knee. Because it's kind of like, it's easy, isn't it, to put your foot there, because it kind of pushes into your knee, but it's not good for it. So go ankle, go on calf, or go on thigh. I'm going to go thigh today because I'm feeling good. So grab hold of your ankle, place your foot where you need to place it. So remember, if you place it up high here, it can feel a little bit tricky. There you go, already a wobble. Press the foot into the calf, press the foot into the thigh, and then the thigh into the foot. You can lift your arms, grow your branches, and you might just sway around a little bit here. This is good. Might keep your hands here. Whatever feels good for you. Nice. And then from here, see if you can stay on one leg. There we go. A little bit of movement. Cross your right ankle over your left thigh. And then with the hands at heart center, see if you can just crouch. Try and keep your back straight. So you don't want to kind of like round into the spine. If you're moving around a little bit, that's okay. It's all good. Nice. I'll do the second side on. From here, see if you can transition into a warrior three. So you're going to bring the arms out, gaze is just straight down, then you're lifting that back leg. Try and keep the hips nice and neutral. Whoa, I looked at the camera. That's a bad thing to do. Come down as low as feels good. One more deep inhale, and then as you exhale, lift everything up, and then give the legs a good shake out. Nice. It's a challenge, isn't it? And you might feel the heart beating away a little bit more, because it can be challenging coming into those balances. So let's just find a little bit of equalization between two sides. Is that a word, equalization? Let's equalize. So bring the arms forward, the palms face forward, and then just breathe, letting the breath come back to a steady rhythm. Beautiful. Nice. So I'm going to do this one side on, because you know what we're doing, and then you'll see the warrior three a little bit better if you need to. So this time we're going to go with the left foot. So right foot, really engage. Have a look at your toes, spread your toes out, and then lift up the left foot, place it in your thigh or down on your calf or down on the ankle. Hands at heart center. Maybe bring the arms up. Remember, wherever you are, you're pressing one part of the body into the other. So the foot presses into either the calf or the ankle or the thigh, and then the thigh or the calf or the ankle presses the other way. Nice. From here, have a little wobble around if that feels good. Place the left foot over the right thigh, hands at heart center, and then just crouch. So you're sitting. You're not coming down super low. You're just opening out the hip here. The left ankle over the right thigh. Then from here, see if you can sweep this left leg back. Doesn't have to lift up high. You might be here. Bring the arms forward, stretch out through the arms, you might want to come down a little bit more. This might be where you want to come. Lift the leg as high as feels good for you. Standing leg nice and strong, maybe a little micro bend into the knee, and then bring the hands to heart center, maybe a little wobble around like this, and then slowly bring the leg down. Nice, everyone. Give the legs a good shake. Congratulate yourself on that little balancing sequence. And remember, we can use balances all the time. And if you feel with your balance it's too much, you've got this option. You know, you can practice. You can bring the hand away. You might be, whoa, bring the hand back up. So just practice bit by bit. We lose the ability to balance. Then we start to fall, and it ain't good for us, is it? So let's try and balance. Do something every single day. Build it into your life. Remember, yoga doesn't have to be this, oh, I get onto my mat and I do an hour. You can do these things just in this nice manner. It can be little bits every day. All right. So let's come back to the tops of our mat. Let's transition back down to the floor. Hopefully you've got a little bit of sun wherever you are. I've got this beautiful patch of sun at the top of my mat. Oh, the warmth on my shoulders is so nice. Bring the hands to heart center. Breathe nice and deeply. And then from here, bring the hands just onto your hips. So then lengthen out through your chest. Roll your hip points forward, and then just come into a little back bend. Not too much. Bring the hand onto the lower back just to support the back. And then bring the hips back to that neutral position. One more time like this. So nice deep inhale. Maybe look it up. Full exhale. Bring the hips back to center. Let's do one more. Nice deep inhale. And a full exhale. Beautiful. Bring the hands back to heart center. Inhale the arms up. Final time. Full exhale. Forward fold. Nice. Inhale just to lengthen your spine. Come up halfway. Exhale. Hands are coming back. Step one foot back. Step the other foot back. Nice deep inhale here into your final plank. And then as you exhale, lower all the way to the floor. So either do this and drop the knees or lower down in one piece. And then just shuffle back on your mat if you need to and come into Sphinx position. So have a look at your elbows, have a look at your shoulders, make sure they're stacked. So they're kind of in line, shoulders and elbows. The elbows might be a little bit forward. See if you can draw them back. Have your feet about hip width apart, pressed into the tops of the feet. Spread out through your fingers, claw into the fingertips, and then kind of as if you're dragging the mat back towards you, and it lifts your chest. You feel this little compression in the lower spine. Nice. Make sure the head feels nice and relaxed. So not too much tension in the back of the neck. And remember, you can always come here. You can stack the head on the hands and then just chill out. Maybe close the eyes and feel this nice compression into the lower spine. So it's a stretch into the lower spine. I'll be quiet for a moment. Just breathe deeply. Take 3 more complete rounds of breath here. And then when you're ready, stack the right hand on top of the left, wing the elbows out really wide, and then just turn your head to the right hand side. Turn your head back to center, and then come back to the left hand side. Maybe have a little wriggle through your hips. Beautiful. Head back to center. And then bring your hands for the final time underneath your shoulders. Just press yourself back to a tabletop position. And then this is going to be super simple. You're just going to roll over onto one hip, come down onto your back. Hug your knees into the chest as you do that. So hug your knees in. Breathe deeply. Maybe keeping the knees together and just circling the hips out. Maybe separating the knees and getting into the inner hips, whatever feels good. And then eventually we're just going to come into a nice Shavasana. So in your Shavasana, feel free to grab, some socks or a blanket, anything that feels good. See if you can bring the palms face up. Go nice and wide and then let the feet fall open. Find any movement in the body that feels good. Maybe just wriggle around a little bit. And then find your final resting position just for a couple of minutes. See if you can commit to this stillness. Breathe deeply. And then from here, just begin to bring a little bit of awareness back to your physical body. Maybe start with the tips of the fingers and the toes and begin to roll out through the ankles and the wrists. Then maybe bring the arms above the head like I'm doing, stretch them out, stretch through the legs. And then from here, just find loads of length through the right-hand side of the body as you relax the left. And then just do that on the other side. Stretch out through the left-hand side as you relax the right. Bend the right knee in, bend your left knee in. Bring your forehead up towards your knees. Nice. And then from here, just roll over onto the left or your right-hand side. Use your top hand, press yourself up to the seated position. Nice. Let me just shuffle forward a little bit. Beautiful, everyone. Fantastic work. Bring your hands to heart center. Maybe close your eyes. Notice the effects of your practice today. Congratulate yourself on turning up. And then with your eyes closed or your gaze soft, just rub the hands together. Create a load of heat. Rub them more vigorously. And then like we did at the start of the class, place the palms over the closed eyes. Blink the palms open. Rotate the eyes a couple of times one way, a couple of times the other. Soften your left hand onto your heart, your right hand onto your left hand. With a wholehearted bow, just wish yourself well, wish everybody else well. Namaste. Thank you, everybody. Thanks so much for joining today. It's been a pleasure. Again, always a pleasure to teach for the Royal Voluntary Service Virtual Village Hall. I'll be back again next week. We'll work a little bit more on those balances. We'll get into that. Try your balances this week. Just pick one pose. Just pick maybe tree. Do tree for like 2 or 3 minutes a day. Go right leg, go left leg, and see what happens to your body. See what happens to the mind. See how everything just begins to learn and engage and strengthen. Remember, it ain't just about flexibility, like I said at the start of the class. Enjoy your weekend. I was going to say it's Easter weekend, but that's next weekend, isn't it? But enjoy this weekend. I hope you have a lovely time wherever you go. And if you're going away, have a great time as well. If you're at home, have a beautiful time. Look after yourselves, and I'll see you all soon. All right. Namaste. Cheers, everyone. Bye.